Scotland is holding a referendum next month on whether to become independent from the UK, but some up there are worrying about whether it's really wise to go it alone. Well, Jenny and Jason have been reporting on the issue for us. And Jenny, what's the current state of the polls? Where's this all heading?
Well, the latest polls say that 36% of people are for independence and 48% are against, and it sounds that sounds very unbalanced.
Right.
But in reality, 16% of people haven't decided yet.
Right.
So the referendum is September 18th, and things could be close then.
Things could still change. Jason, what's the main worry people have about voting for independence?
I think the big worry is the economy. So there's a lot of unknowns about how an independent Scotland would fare. How long the oil revenues would last, for example, whether they could sustain current levels of public spending,
Oil
pensions.
would be the basis of their economy, would it?
It would be a big chunk of it, certainly. I mean,
Yeah.
the nationalists who are leading the pro-independence campaign have all sorts of plans to replace oil revenues, other exciting things, but oil will still be a big part of Scotland's economy.
And Jenny, conversely, those who want independence, what's their main argument for that?
Well, I think for some people it's patriotism, and they feel the pride and the culture for Scotland, and a lot of it is born out of frustration with the government at Westminster now, which they view as elitist and disconnected from what the Scottish voters want.
I see. And going back to the economy then, what are big companies saying about this, Jason? What have they sort of been saying things on the record about this?
There's a couple of. We've heard most from the financial services sector and a few of the oil giants. So people like Standard Life and National Australia Bank, which owns a big Scottish lender, have said they're not too happy about it. They would be quite worried. They have contingency plans in place.
Right.
Standard Life have talked about moving some operations to the UK in the event of Scots voting for independence. So, I mean, there are quite a few businesses that are reasonably pro-independence, some very prominent Scottish businessmen, like a chap called Brian Souter, who runs a Stagecoach memory service, and so there is businesses are split, but the big ones I think are pretty worried about it.
And presumably, Jenny, there's some uncertainty about which currency they would have. Would Scotland be able to use the British pound, for example?
Well, the currency is a tricky one because the UK government has said if Scotland splits, they cannot use the pound. But Scottish politicians or pro-independence politicians have said they think this is a bluff and not necessarily true, and that if they're independent, then they'll use the pound. So that one is very up in the air. And another big uncertainty is also if Scotland would even be a part of the EU, and how quickly it would take for Scotland to rejoin.
Well, lots of technical questions to sort out,
Indeed.
Lots of emotion as well. Thanks very much, guys.